this season seems to be about modern slavery.
Yes.
You know, we've got someone who is trafficked in Shea.
Yes.
We've got undocumented immigrants where you tell their story as well. Why did you decide to focus on that this season?
You know, about a year and a half ago, John was sharing a book with me. It was called The Slave Next Door, and I think it was the most eye-opening book I've ever read. You know, the idea of like literally next door, people living and being exploited. And you know, John was really like, you've got to read this book. You got to make this is something that we need to talk about. And I think for both of us, particularly John having been 12 years a slave, the idea that what existed 150 years ago still existed. It's just a different form, a different type of people, and to be able to explore that, you know, demonstrate to the world that it's happening. It's so shocking. So that's what we started talking about. You know, and once you open that door, there's all these other things that start happening. You start looking at, you start examining immigration, you start examining women's rights and access to reproductive health. All these things that are part of, you know, any story has many tentacles that go out. And I think that's what, once we focused on that, all these other things just started, we started finding everything.
And why did you decide to set this season in North Carolina?
Well, you know, I think we've always wanted to reflect America, and you know, I think North Carolina, you know, well, the southern state is a purple state. It's a state that voted for Obama and it voted for Donald Trump. They've, you know, been having this internal battle over HB2, which is about transgender rights. Like, who would think a southern state would ever, you know, run out of governor because they didn't support transgender rights? And so it's a state that is very educated. It has an enormous amount of colleges. We set this in Greensboro, which is the site of the civil rights movement. That's
okay. Oh, hey. Okay.
I don't say
no, you don't say
no. And there's like 7 colleges in Greensboro. Who would have known it? And so, but it's also the South that has this historical story. But we didn't want it to overwhelm like a crashing wave of the story. We wanted it to be in the background and be part of it, but it's reflective. You know, one of the things we found in North Carolina is some of the immigrants are actually living in slave cabins. And that to me was such a, like, first of all, that slave cabins still exist on a farm, and that immigrants are now living in them. That's just, it was, but I will tell you that as a state, it is reflective of America. It is having the same fights that we're having. It's a purple state, and there are many people in North Carolina that are fighting for equality, fighting for the rights of others, and fighting just to be humane. You know, and we met many of them, and they were very supportive of the show. And so it's no way a reflection of anything negative about it. We just chose a state that felt like it was reflective of America, and that we learned.
We need to remind everyone they can catch you on
Okay, great.
Two,
one thing I love about the show is that you bring, you know, some of the same core actors back,
right?
And you do and you put them in completely different characters each season. What is it like to work on a show like that? Because it seems like it would be pretty amazing.
I mean, well, first of all, it's the most exciting day, the first day they're back, because they've been working on their wardrobe. We've been to see them walk out in their new look. It's like, whoa! And they're such amazing actors. They embody these people. So I meet these
ABC March.
There's a whole person I met that's listening.
This is PJ Forrest.
Tim comes in the later episodes. It's really cool that Tim and Lily appear in episode 4. And then also they take over the show. And you know, when Tim and Lily, the first scene they shot together was they were having a dinner scene. They were having dinner together. And Tim's like at the scraggly beard, and Lily has blonde hair.
Yeah.
And I never thought of anything of Lily except East Coast. You know, she's an East Coast girl. And suddenly she had this blonde hair and perfect makeup. She's wearing a dress skirt. I'd never seen Lily wear a skirt before. And it was just blown away like they were a married couple. And to me, that's the magic of the show. Is these people are phenomenal. They're chameleons. And that's what, you know, you look at the greatest of all time, Meryl Streep. I mean, you never could see her. And I think that's what Felicity and Regina, Lily and Tim, and you know, we have a great people playing this here. We have Cherry Jones, Sandra Oh, like how cool is that?
I know.
You know?
Actually, yeah, tell me a little bit about some of the guest stars we're going to see this season.
So we have Cherry Jones, who's one of the best actors out there right now. Amazing Broadway actress, but also just like does phenomenal work on shows. You know, Janelle Malone comes and she like strips off her makeup. That woman is fearless.
Yeah, she's in episode 2 and she was so good.
And she is, you know, she's from The West Wing, and she was Donna from The West Wing. And so to see her with no makeup on, playing a recovering drug addict is amazing. We have Sandra Oh, I'm just
It was so nice to see her.
yeah, and she's playing a peer of Regina's, and they're both struggling to try to fight the system and try to make it work, and to see her, and wipes away all the Christina's not there. It's Sandra being this other person. And we're so blessed that she would come. John writes phenomenal lyrics, and so these phenomenal actors are willing to come and do an episode or 2 or 3 or 4 just to be able to work in this environment. We're just really honored and blessed.
Well,